Today, we're taking a step back to the 1930s with this Great Depression poor man's chocolate cake. This cake was born out of necessity when times were tough. It's made without milk, eggs, or butter, but trust me, it's still very delicious and moist. It's perfect for when you're on a budget or just craving something simple and sweet. So let's whip it up together with just a few pantry staples. The first step is to add 1.5 cups of sifted all-purpose flour to a mixing bowl. Then I'm going to sift 1 cup of sugar into the mixing bowl along with the flour. And now I'm adding 1/4 cup unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm sifting that as well into the mixing bowl. The next step is to add 1 teaspoon of sifted baking soda. And now I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of sifted salt. And now I'm going to combine my dry ingredients by stirring them with a whisk. Now it's time to add 1 cup of water to your dry ingredients and 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. And you need 1 tablespoon of white or apple cider vinegar. I only have white vinegar on hand, so that's what I'm using today. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I don't believe I need a hand mixer for this recipe, so I'm just going to use my spoon to stir everything up. Here I'm using my whisk to stir everything up and to make sure the batter is smooth and there are no lumps. For this recipe, you need either an 8x8 or 9x9 inch pan. You're going to want to grease the pan either with Crisco or baking spray that has flour added to it, preferably. That's what I like to use. And you're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes or until it's done. Please keep in mind that you may need to adjust either your oven temperature or baking time depending on your oven. You'll know when it's done because it will start to smell like it's done, and a toothpick or butter knife inserted in the middle should come out clean. You don't want to overbake this cake though. Here's my cake straight out of the oven. As you can see, I had to test it for doneness using a butter knife. I didn't have any toothpicks on hand, and I had to pull it out of the oven more than once. The first time I took it out, it wasn't quite done, so I had to stick it back in the oven for a few more minutes. Before you frost your cake, you're going to want it to cool down completely. And the best thing to do is to leave it in the pan for about 10 to 15 minutes, let it cool a little bit in the pan. And then if you have a cooling grid, like I do in the video, you want to remove it from the pan gently so that it doesn't tear, and let it cool down a little bit more on the cooling grid. You don't want to put powdered sugar on top of a warm cake because it's going to melt. And powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar is an obvious choice for this cake because it is a Depression era poor man's cake. And there you have it, the 1930s Great Depression poor man's chocolate cake. Who knew that something so simple could taste this good? One bite and you'll see why this recipe has stood the test of time. Give it a try and let me know how it turns out. Don't forget to like, share, and follow for more vintage-inspired meals and treats.